In Crescent City news, there's been a lot of talk lately about law enforcement and how officers and departments are going about doing their jobs in our community. At Monday's Crescent City Council meeting, Crescent City Police Chief Richard Griffin asked the City Council to approve a new contract and mechanism for distributing and storing police body cam and other video evidence. Crescent City Police Chief Richard Griffin.
It's going to make my job easier, a lot easier, especially since we don't have a current records clerk. It's going to also create a bond between us and the district attorney's office, and it's going to be a lot more transparency for the public. That's really what's the goal of this. This is always a goal when I wanted to go to this system, so it's not something new. This is just that next step of this. So currently, when officers create body camera footage, we just take our body cameras off, put it on the dock, it uploads to evidence.com. Then they have to log into evidence.com. They either mark it with a case number, if there's a case associated with it, and also a category, depending on what type of case it is, whether it be felony, misdemeanor, infraction, traffic stop, you name it. That's what dictates how long we keep that video footage inside evidence.com. The case number is where this comes important in play. Currently, what we have, if the case is part of our new evidence.com system, I'll get an email. It would have been Christina, former records clerk. Currently, I'm the records clerk. So I get an email from the district attorney's office saying, hey, I need video footage from case 2022-0210. I've got to log into evidence.com, put that case number in, click on, make a few clicks, and I can email it to them or email them a link that gives them 90-day access. I can basically email that to anyone around the world, basically, who has access to that or email, and it gives them certain access to it, whether they want to download, or I can let them download it, I can let them view it, I can manage if they share it or not. If it's an old system, one of our WatchGuard systems, I have to actually physically go in there, view the footage, and then download it onto a disk and then physically hand it over to the district attorney's office. What this does going forward is gives 13 licenses to the district attorney's office. They pay for it. Initially, we will pay for it. They will reimburse us to the tune of $2,340 a year. It's on a 5-year contract that coincides with the 5-year contract for the body cameras. So the total, I believe, is $11,700. That gives 13 users access, basically almost everybody in the district attorney's office access. So they're deputy DAs who are viewing it. The picture is, say they're getting ready for a homicide trial. They can now log on to evidence.com, view everything that's from March 3rd to March 5th that happened in that time frame of the incident. There may be some that the officers haven't had time yet to tag. They can view those videos as long as they're not marked confidential. I can get into that in just a second and say, hey, these 15 videos are part of this evidence that should be going forward. That doesn't cause any issues with Brady. Brady doesn't just encompass certain things with law enforcement officers. It's the fact that we have to turn over all that evidence to the defense attorney. So that puts us in compliance there. It's kind of a check and balance for us. So hopefully we don't miss tagging very many videos. It does happen. Officers get busy. But then the DA just can download them themselves. I don't even need to get involved in that aspect unless there's some kind of issue with it. What it does not do is give them rights to change the system and how we download it. They can't change the retention. They can't change our case numbers, stuff like that. It just gives them a basic user license to be able to download, and basically gives me more time to do other things currently, or would take off that burden of the records clerk. When Christina was here, she was a records clerk, evidence clerk, you name it, she did it. So this would be one less thing that records clerk does from now on.
One of the interesting and for some perhaps concerning aspects of this presentation was finding out just how much control Crescent City Police and the Crescent City Police Chief have when it comes to who can actually see what video has been taken.
The one thing it doesn't give the access to, and I've talked to Ms. Mix about this, is if we mark it confidential, it could be for internal affairs investigations that we're not ready to turn over, or they can't have access to per POBAR. It could be for confidential informants that we're working on a drug case or any other case we don't want them to view. If she sees that, or one of their people see that, and they want access to it, then I'd have a conference with her, call her, have a very good working relationship with her, and say, here's the reason why it's either a no or a yes. That's how those things would be handled. I don't really have anything else to say. Then it really makes it simpler for us and more efficient and more transparent for the public. And it's at net zero for the city.
How this system makes police body cam footage and or other video evidence more transparent for the public wasn't fully explained at Monday's meeting. City Council member Bo Smith said that he appreciated the honesty that was on display.
I appreciate the honesty in the whole thing and the honesty of our city police department. So you are the main guy on that system that decides on who has access and who doesn't, right?
I am the overall administrator for it,
Okay.
so I've set it up. I was there. I'm day one, set it up through there. Yes, as the chief administrator, chief of police, I'm the one by policy that has it. When the records clerk was there, Christina, we both basically kind of had the same. It's just that I was above her on a couple things. But yeah, currently I'm the one that does all that stuff.
Yeah, I just appreciate the honesty with the whole thing. Thank you, Chief.
Apparently, the honesty that Councilmember Bo Smith appreciated was that Crescent City Police Chief Richard Griffin has complete control of who can view any Crescent City Police Department body cam footage, apparently up to and including the Del Norte County District Attorney's Office. Mayor Pro Tem Isaiah Wright wanted to know how other cities handle things like this, which led to an interesting response from Chief Griffin about the nature of the relationship between the Crescent City Police Department and the Del Norte County District Attorney's Office.
How do cities usually do it? Just like how you were saying earlier, where you give them like a, I don't know, like say a CD, but like a jump drive with the files on it regularly, or?
No, I don't know how to say this nicely, but we have a very good working relationship with our district attorney. It's not so much in other cities, trusting relationship per se. And if for some reason that changes down the road, I don't expect it to, especially as long as the current DA and people we have. If that were to change and there's a fishing expedition or something like that that's above and beyond what their scope is, I'd probably come back to something or have a lot of meetings with them. But no, current practices, overall, I don't think there's a lot of district attorneys that have access to it. I can say that when I managed the system, or I wasn't the overall manager of the system at the Del Norte County Sheriff's Office, but we started that program and that's how we managed it there, back and forth, and they had access to it. And it started with we weren't tagging videos because a lot of casework, you name it, whatever. But yes, that's what the Sheriff's Office has currently with it.
So, according to Crescent City Police Chief Richard Griffin, at some point, the County Sheriff's Office wasn't tagging videos due to casework and whatever. It's unknown what, if any, impact this might have had on the prosecution of cases, and it appears that the police chief believes that he has the authority to determine when the Del Norte County District Attorney's Office is acting outside of their scope of practice, and what constitutes the difference between a fishing expedition and the legitimate need for body cam and other video evidence in possession of the Crescent City Police Department. For KFUG Community News, I'm Mike Thornton.